beautiful, beautiful Sunday. I hope you're all here, you can hear me well, and we are ready to kick this off because today we have to discuss what happens in the week ahead. Now, last week was a very, very eventful week because you know that the most important company of our life, very likely the most important company of our life, or in other words, I'm very sure it is the most important company of our lives, SpaceX went public. You know all about it, and you probably witnessed together with me the unbelievable largest IPO in the history of humanity, in the history of capitalism. Here is how the stock did very well, 20% up, a little less than people expected, 165. I am not a shareholder in SpaceX. You know that I'm not bullish on SpaceX short term, that I'm incredibly bullish long term, that I'm absolutely determined to make SpaceX one of the central pillars of Pioneer Lands and Pioneer Alpha, the Pioneer Reserve, in our mission to make everyone 30% per year forever and stabilized. A mission, not a promise, just to be clear, not a solicitation for securities here. Pioneer bonds, totally different story, but that is our mission. And our mission is to find the stocks that reflect this enormous upside and transformation of humanity into the age of AGI, with all its risks and opportunities in the most effective way. And my favorite stock used to be Tesla. My second favorite stock used to be and is Nvidia, and they're still the number one and number two for me. But SpaceX, there's no doubt, over the next 24 months will become probably the number one. But pricing matters, and that's why I'm staying out, because there's all hype going on around that. So let's take a look at the catalysts to be a little bit more scientific here for the next week. Let's see what's going on. Here's the little rocket. And what happens next week? What happens over the next few weeks with SpaceX? Let's start with SpaceX before we go into Tesla. What do I expect for SpaceX? Well, I expect the stock to do fine. Maybe show some weakness, show some volatility, try to do some more price discovery. But let's not forget, we have major catalysts for SpaceX coming in purely on a technical level that should drive the stock higher or at least stabilize it around here. Purely technical because, as you all know, we have index inclusions for SpaceX negotiated extra specifically for this company starting on June 14th. We continue trading, of course, June 15th. Then on June 26th, we have the Russell US indexes inclusion, fast entry edition. So here all these indexes and all the ETFs connected to it have to do that, right? So this is buying pressure from all the different funds that automatically have to reflect and model the index, because that's what they promise their investors. They say, oh, you want to be a passive investor, just come to us. We just reflect this index and we have to buy all the stocks in the index according to their weight in the index. And by index inclusions, you basically force these funds to adopt your stock, and that creates buying pressure regardless of the fundamentals, regardless of valuation. They have to buy. Now, what do we see here? Is that even true? It's July 6th. What is this S&P Total Market Broad US Index? This is some AI slop. I don't even know if that's true. But July 6th, very important here, the NASDAQ inclusion. So that will be very likely fast entry rebalance, right? So all the NASDAQ funds then also have to buy SpaceX according to its weight in there. And that is really, really good for the stock. And in December, then we have the next Russell semi-annual reconstitution, weight and style adjustments. I would discount that, not important, but July 6th, very important. And then you know that, of course, S&P rejected the change of rules, which means the earliest we can get included as SpaceX into the S&P 500, which is the big one, is in 1 year. So long story short, we have these catalysts, we have these index funds coming in, and they have to buy, and it's going to be fine until July 6th, and then we are over, right? In other words, we have strong catalysts coming in until July 6th, another 3 weeks roughly from here. And from there on, SpaceX will be on its own. So, you know my thesis, my big thesis. I can scroll down here, skip all the stuff. You know my quick thesis. I had this beautiful image that I stole from X. Actually, I feel super bad not giving the author credit because I don't even know who the author is. Let me try to find that out while I speak, because I feel very bad showing this image without attributing whoever created this SpaceX IPO graphic. Let's see if I can find it. But you know, this is the theory. We have a very, very hyped situation on the SpaceX IPO, and that is the problem. The IPO cycle, very well known cycle. We are going up at hype, then we are lacking the fundamentals, of course, because the current cash flow and fundamentals do not support SpaceX. And then at some point, everyone will lose faith. There will be some crash. The stock goes down. And then, of course, especially with SpaceX, with a stock like SpaceX, we have actually massive tail end potential that is coming sooner than people think. So I am quite convinced this is how it's going to go. I'm also quite convinced these 1 to 2 years of tears, the valley of tears, will be shorter and this will be steeper. So I am looking for this area here to buy. Now, I might be wrong, but it's very hard to see how I'm wrong on this. So I'm waiting. No one knows how much this falls. Does it fall back to 150, to 135 IPO price, to 80? Who knows, right? It depends on the market. But what are the odds we are not going under 160 in the next 12 months? Not high. And even if, who the hell cares? This thing goes to infinity. So if I go in later at a higher price, I don't really care. I'm very convinced that the steep upward curve of SpaceX cannot happen anytime soon based on that valuation. Now, we might go to 100 or 220. There's a squeeze or something short term, but that's how I see it. Okay. Let's go back. So now I commented quickly on what I see with SpaceX. So I am not bullish on SpaceX short term. If you want, you can buy it, of course. It might go up more with all these catalysts coming up. It's just too highly valued. It runs on fumes, and it has some way to go until the cash flow kicks in. And I am pretty convinced there will be a drop. That's why I'm sticking to Tesla for now. But we know that SpaceX is the stock that makes the long-term Pioneer Alpha story work, that makes the long-term objective that we have at the Pioneer Reserve to generate in excess of 30% every single year in a robust and reliable way, so we can build the future financial infrastructure for everyone and deliver this return to everyone while we actually make more, so we can finance Pioneer lands, stabilize the reserve, and ensure that when the markets are volatile, the Pioneer bonds can keep pumping out the 30% to everyone. That is the promise. That promise hinges on great pioneers and great people generating massive amounts of value. And now with SpaceX, I'm very confident that over the next 10 years, we have that under control. As I said, not a promise. It's an objective. Let's look at Tesla and what Tesla does. Of course, Tesla, the entire story for next week, the weeks to come, is robotaxi. Because we know big things are happening. Big things are happening. You know this here. This is my Dallas picture. And I will show you, of course, the latest. The latest is here. This is June 13th. This is Houston. So on top, in addition to Dallas, here you see the Houston. Is a secret parking lot somewhere in Houston where you have all, look at this, all these amazing cyber caps with their cute golden little wheel caps that they should not wear if they don't want to show themselves in public. And so the wheel caps, just another little hint that something is going on, because they tested them without the wheel caps before. Now they make them all pretty with makeup. Why do you put makeup on your cyber cap? Probably because you want to put it out in the public. So that is just Houston. Here we see another one. Look at this. This is in Las Vegas. This is in Las Vegas, and you see these beautiful, beautiful cyber caps. Not as many, but Las Vegas is far away from Texas. But they're being lined up also with the beautiful little wheel caps. Of course, they still have the steering wheels, as you can see here. But we also know these steering wheels can probably be removed within minutes when necessary, and they're gonna drive around for now with their steering wheels. Does it have a steering wheel? I don't even know. So the question is also, why are they all there? Why do they sit around in all these cities getting accumulated? What is even going on, right? So there you have it. That is happening on the cybercap front. And to actually provide you with some numbers, some calculations I did here, you know that my central thesis on Tesla is that we actually have a real hard, reliable reference point for cybercap deployment with cybercap production. And I made this repeatedly clear. Of all the things, of all the indicators, from FSD releases to reviews to Elon and everyone, what they're saying, the most reliable function, enforcing function for cybercap and robotaxi that allows us to do some kind of estimation when something is happening is actually cybercap production. Because cybercap production is a commercial, full-fledged manufacturing operation that you cannot fake, you cannot ramp it down easily, you can also not ramp it up easily. It's a massive operation. And the fact that it kicked off in April, the fact that it churns out dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds of cybercaps is the best piece of evidence that I have to generate a trajectory for robotaxi launch. And that trajectory, let me show you what I see here. We have roughly, based on Joe Tegtmeyer's drones, at an absolute minimum produced 10 per day in April. That would make it 220 units. We have also then, hard to tell if that's the actual minimum, but we saw batches of 70 standing around, 80 standing around at Austin Gigafactory. So I'm estimating at a minimum 20 per day in May, with 22 production days, conservatively, which is 440. And then in June, we can assume 30 per day. I'm just extremely conservative here, which makes it 360 so far in June. But see what I'm saying? Even if my super conservative estimates here are true, we are actually above 1,000 cybercaps as we speak. And I do think, based on what I've seen, the drone footage, Joe Tegtmeyer's great coverage, and all the other people showing us all over the place from Chicago to Boston to Florida, and of course the big ones, California, Palo Alto, we see Nevada, we see Texas, all over the place, we see these cybercaps. So there are probably over 1,000 cybercaps out in the wild, and another 1,000 being added by probably the first week of July. And then you have 2,000 sitting around in July, and then you have 3,000, 4,000 sitting around in August. And there's just no way, when you understand finance and manufacturing, to do that without some sort of high conviction plan. And that is why I'm saying I am still convinced we will see some deployment. Multiple dozens is my theory. Multiple dozens of cybercaps in June, which is now, which is next week and the week after. I can be wrong. But the signs point to me not being wrong. And if this happens, it will be a strong tactical short-term catalyst for the stock. I would estimate we are up to all-time highs in June in the next 2 weeks if this happens. If we get 48, 50 of these cybercaps actually unsupervised deployed. If not, who knows? We're just hanging out here. Another little signal is then FSD 14.34. Maybe you find this boring. Maybe you find it boring, the latest FSD releases. But this new release, I got some extremely positive reviews back from you guys on X. Here, Brother Joe from Doge Army General himself, the Tesla bull. Doge Army General never lies. Doge Army General, after I requested some more information on this whole thing, right? Pete balls to the wall, says my review of FSD 14.3.4 after the first 42 miles. This was just released on Friday. Holy, how do you say that without saying it? Holy mother effing shit. This is, I don't even know how to say that. I feel bad. I need more Tesla stock. And then I said, please, more information. And then Doge Army General says this, Brother Joe, a few more details. I have driven 250 miles on 14.3.4. It is by far the best overall FSD built by a wide margin. And Doge Army General is not a joker. When he says that, we should listen. It is far more refined than 14.3.3, which in some ways for me, a regression from 14.3.2. 14.3.4, the new one, can clearly go wide to everyone. The nag feels even less than 14.3.3. The car no longer breaks steps for animals, just lets off the accelerator more naturally. The selection of parking options at destination is very nice and feels like this is one step closer to robotaxi. Some small issues still with parking selection, my personal preference not being matched with where the car parks, but this is an incredible build. The pace of improvements is mind-boggling. And listen to this, I will comment on this in a second. Essentially, every 2 to 3 weeks, we are getting upgrades. This will only go faster as the AI learns more. I'm buying more Tesla. I've held and accumulated since 2013 and well into 8-figure position, likely to cross 9 soon. Good for you, Doge Army General. 9 figures is impressive. 8 figures is also impressive. Here, and Doge Army said, after I said thank you, I was pretty outspoken about the issues with 14.3.3 if you check my feed, so no reason for me to overhype things. I'm amazed and in love with 14.3.4. Look forward to checking out your live. I'm a big fan of your work. So Doge Army General, if you see this feed, thank you so much for actually adding some color to this whole thing. And we should remember that 14.3.2, I forgot which one, I think 14.3, that was the big release. That was a fundamental overhaul of the system that has now a much higher iteration speed because they cut out all kinds of things where they can now iterate faster. So it was a non-trivial improvement. And we have to understand the slope of progress. Whenever the slope of progress changes, not just a new release, but the slope of advancement changes because of a rebuild of the whole underlying system. That is a very important thing. And that happened with 4.3. And that is also why Elon made clear, by the way, in the earnings call, we do not have to wait for version 15 for robotaxi rollout. He made this very clear. He said at huge scale, we will have we have version 15, but not before. We can roll this out and we will roll it out before version 15, which is scheduled for probably end of the year. So I am quite bullish on this. So if we then look back here to Tesla, this stock, of course, a total pain in the butt. Let's not kid ourselves. I predicted correctly Q1, but I made some mistakes here. I can go into that, but I predicted that Q1 will be terrible, and I traded this like a master of my craft. I think I was down 5% for the year when Tesla was down like 20, whatever. So I did a tremendous job for Pioneer Alpha and all investors and pioneers for Q1. Now then I got a little greedy here. I totally rode this up. I absolutely won this all the way up here because I predicted that. But then I think I survived that little slide too, but then I got too greedy. End of May, I got too bullish and got really leveraged. And then here I got very much destroyed and then recovered sufficiently now. But let's see how it goes. So I'm fine, but that was definitely too greedy. I got too greedy end of May, went too strongly leveraged in, so I got squeezed a little bit and had to reshuffle. That always is bad. Now I'm kind of stabilized and fine, but it has to go up a little bit. So what can we learn from that? Well, I don't think it was a super big mistake. I was probably exposed 20% too much. 20% less, I would be in a better position. Was a little bit too greedy. So don't get too greedy. And also don't do what I do. This is a little dangerous. So what I believe is happening, as you all know, is I believe we go back to all-time highs very soon and very quickly once we see any kind of movement. The market mini correction is also over, by the way. As I also said very clearly, this is a joke. I said it's a joke because if you look at how this actually behaves, 5-year chart here of the NASDAQ, we are on this uptrend since 2023, pretty clean line up, little corrections here, no one cares, continues on this uptrend, and now we were clearly below that line, then totally rallied above it, and are now basically back exactly to where we belong to continue this AGI rally, which will not end anytime soon. That's what I think. So that's what I do. Let's remain bullish on Tesla. Let's be aware that Tesla can always kick us in the balls. That's what it loves to do. So we always have to be prepared. This thing falling back to 380 for no reason in between, so you can't have too much leverage on. But I also think the uptrend from here, from 406, up is much more likely than down. Just be prepared for a little down from time to time. But this is uptrending. If we hit 490 soon, we have to be also cautious up there. I think then we are stagnating and falling back unless Robotaxi keeps scaling. So we have to play this with some sense, right? There's Optimus. No one knows what happens with Optimus. If we actually see something, we will discuss this later. No one knows right now. But I think at 406, it's a clear, strong buy. At 440 or something, we need to start being a little cautious if nothing happened with Cybercap. If we get Cybercap release, we can easily get to 490. But then, if it doesn't continue to scale, we can fall back. So we have to remain diligent here and see what happens. Let's go to the comments. Maybe I switch on a nice little nicer screen while we wait here. Let's have that on. My favorite mega satellite. I mean, this thing is just, I can't even put it into words. How did this even happen that we are living in this timeline, that this is probably a year away from becoming real and the biggest transformation of anything that has ever happened in the history of humanity? And this satellite, AI-1 of SpaceX, will be the decisive step, the most important technology in a very long time, and not even complicated. Okay, let's go to the comments and see what you guys are saying. I saw some things. So Ronnie, greetings on a Sunday evening. Greetings. So you're in Europe, it seems. Chomsky says no Cybercap release during the FIFA World Cup yet. I know, very disappointing. Bongo Wonggook says hi Joe. Tagazaga says, Joe, the debate between you and Alexandra was fun to watch. You won. You should do more. You're good at it. I'm happy to do more. With Alexandra? Well, Alexandra has the most dissenting ideas. Rebellionaire is out there now promoting voting no on the merger, even though we have no information on the merger. So I don't know. Yeah, Alexandra is fun to debate with. I love having CERN on, but with CERN, I'm not debating too much. CERN is always teaching us amazing things, and we can have great conversations, not so much dissenting debates. Jeff Lutz, of course, amazing, knows everything, but I never debate anything with Jeff because we're always of the same opinion. I think Jeff is very smart, knowledgeable. He has a lot of things to contribute. I learn always when I talk to Jeff. Bechti says forever is a very, 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 very long time. It's maybe even longer when you think about it, but I agree. James Bond. We have James Bond on the chat. Very good. Does SpaceX dump every time there is a launch delay? I think, I mean, what do you, like, if there's a launch blow up, that will definitely impact it. I mean, now all these launches get very interesting for shareholders because they will impact the stock. I don't think in dramatic ways until something dramatic happens, but it's going to be very interesting. Randy says, hi Joe, I miss Curious Peggy. It's not right what YouTube did to him. We should do something to help him. He does a great job with his content on Tesla. Randy from Connecticut, USA. Thank you, Randy, so much for reminding us on this horrible thing that happened to Peggy. And Peggy, I was on Peggy's channel multiple times. Peggy invited me when I was small, when Peggy was much bigger. So I have like gratitude for Peggy, and I think he's such a cool dude, and he's always in a good mood, even though he is down there right now in Kuwait and these areas, so he doesn't have an easy life. It's absolutely horrible what happened to Peggy. I tried to contact YouTube on X multiple times and told them what the hell is going on. Yeah, we should do something. You know, we should do a petition or something. If you guys want to set up a petition, can we do a petition? Like a GoFundMe, but as a petition to YouTube? I think it's very outrageous. It's very scary also for me as a YouTuber, for every YouTuber, that they can just shut down your channel without any strikes, with no warning. I thought you get a strike. That would be the fair way to say, oh, we take down your video, you did something wrong, you get a strike. But from 0 to 1 to shut down the entire channel that Peggy put so much work in and so much effort and passion and accumulated a great set of followers, I think it's very shocking and very disturbing, especially because it's clear that Peggy didn't do anything wrong, at least not on purpose. I think he shared some kind of fake crypto scam video without knowing it and took it down right away and said, you know, oh, that was bad. So yeah, we should absolutely do a petition for Peggy. This is pretty horrible what's happening. It's very, very unfair and very, very mean. I can't even imagine. El Mike the Dude says YouTube treats everyone awful. I also got a strike. I had one video in January where I said how much worth is Tesla or something, or when do you have 1 million in Tesla shares? And I got a strike, and they shut down my video. But then I got very scared and like made sure I never said anything about 1 million. And now it's gone. But yeah, very mean. Michael D. Bush. Joe, why do you prefer naked puts to vertical put credit spreads? Couldn't you buy many more contracts with spreads for a given amount of margin buying power? Absolutely, Michael. I don't have naked, I have de facto naked puts, but I have credit spreads, yes, because of the margin issue. But they are kind of useless in terms of real protection, right? If you sell, let's say, a 400 strike price weekly at 406, so if the stock is now at 406, you're selling, let's say, 400 strike price, and you're buying a spread long put at 350. I mean, what's even, you're losing everything if this goes to 350, but it helps you to buffer the margin. So absolutely, Michael. You should be cold-blooded with these things, assess risk, and just use the tools. I'm just using credit spreads that are de facto naked puts in the sense that you're not protected really to manage margin. Saul says we need 1800s unsupervised for the Tesla stock to seriously move. I agree. We need roughly 1800 unsupervised for hitting 5% of free cash flow addition, and then we can reprice the stock. But here's the difference, Saul. If we get, let's say, 20 or 40 released, I think it's a 10% catalyst for the stock, 10 to 20%. I think we can run to 490 with that. Absolutely. What you're talking about, the 1800, that is a repricing of the stock. That is basically a repricing of the entire asset. And I think that can push us to 600, 800, with a little exuberance also to 1,000. At the moment we hit 1,800 unsupervised robotaxis and see the growth accelerating or continuing, so 10,000 becomes like clearly in a couple of months after. Yes, we can absolutely reprice the entire stock, but that's different from just going back to 490. The truth is out there, says merger, no. Well, this is a big debate. We will have that debate here. I want to see the terms, and then we can make a decision. But if they offer us 30% premium or something, yeah, I'm going to say no. Are you kidding me? So let's see. Sean says Joe is right again. I didn't say it. Sean said it, and Sean is a smart man. Mangravi 2000 says, I'm no on merger for now. Let Tesla run. I'm not speculating. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You can always talk to me, Tesla and SpaceX, make a proposal, tell us what you want. Then we can review this, but we are not going to vote blindly no or yes, right? What do we have here? Ooh, we have so many comments. I may be one of the few that thinks this, but I do not believe that SpaceX merger is a good thing. Let me make this bigger. This is one of my biggest problems in my life, is the comment section here. The management is so annoying. I can never scroll this effectively. It always jumps around. I spotted a white Model Y, says Frost 1349, with robotaxi lettering in Orange County, California on Friday. Likely a fan-made decal. White Model Y with I don't know. Maybe it escaped from LA. Sean X says, thanks for the info. Tragic. We would hope that YouTube has data to realize that he is not a scammer. Very odd. It's very, very bad. And actually, the YouTube team investigated it, talked to the people who are the blocker team, and the blocker team just didn't change it. So they're like douchebags. It's very bad. Sincere Skeptic says, I sure don't trust me to drive through a parking lot unless FSD engaged. People walk right out in front of me. Tesla reacts quicker. True. People are crazy on these parking lots. Randy says, Curious Patchy did a great job with Tesla content. I watched him every day. They treated him awful. I'm very sad how they just erased the poor guy, not right. It's super bad if you know how important YouTube is for all YouTubers. I enjoy it. I mean, I would be totally devastated if it's just destroyed. El Mike, the dude, says YouTube treats everyone awful. Almost trust almost every YouTuber because, oops. Yeah, it's all horrible. Michael Bush, why do you prefer naked calls? We already had that. Warren says, oh, political drama. You want to talk about... you want to talk about Iran? You know that I think Iran is over for a long time now. And you know the back and forth, and now Israel did stupid things again, and now Iran said today they're not going to sign, and Trump's birthday, happy birthday, President Trump, by the way, 80th birthday, big birthday. But now Trump can't sign this deal, or Iran won't sign it. It's like a total mess. But I said the Iran drama was over 5 weeks ago because no one has a choice, especially the United States. Doesn't have a choice. They need to have the Strait of Hormuz opened, and it will happen because the alternative would be total devastation of the world economy and the American economy. So it's clearly going to happen. No one wants this. Sometimes you have to look through the drama and see the economics. P. Bun says, love you, Joe. I love it. But P. Bun wanted more. Can you talk a bit about Bitcoin? I can do this. By the way, talking about the future of investments, we have a very cool thing I want to drop on you guys quickly. Look at what we have here. Pioneer Alpha, you know the Pioneer bonds? Talk about that sometimes. You have the Tesla plus 50 bond, growth 35, and so on. You know, income 12, the bonds pay 1% per month, paid quarterly. It's 3% per quarter of the bond principal. But we have this new thing going on. So all you Americans, listen. We have now, because we got a lot of requests for the Pioneer bonds for IRAs. And that is, you can go to pioneeralpha.org, by the way, if you want to know more. You need to be an accredited investor. So there's a little survey, but it's very easy. So you have to see that site. But look what we did. we basically connected. We are not getting paid by anyone, by the way. We are connected to some of the best self-directed RIA service providers. In case you guys don't know what that is, you can basically convert your IRA or some of your IRA into a self-directed IRA where you can just invest in anything you want, not just in publicly traded, but also in pioneer bonds, for example, but also into real estate, also into startups, venture, whatever you want. In case you didn't know that, that's a very important provision in the code, in the tax code. You're allowed to do that, but you need to do it through a custodian. So we connected here to some of the largest custodians in the United States, very reliable people, cost like $500 a year or something. We are not in any way involved here. We are just connecting, helping you guys to do that if you want. And then you can basically convert any amount of your IRA money, Roth or not Roth, into self-directed IRA. And then you tell the custodian what you want to invest in, and they invest it for you. And you get, for example, Pioneer Bonds. You tell them, I want the Pioneer Bonds. They ask you how much. They make sure you have the money in your IRA account, and then do it. And we negotiated even a big discount for everyone who wants to do that for this service. We have no links, by the way. We have no liability, no links. You have to do your own research and decide if you want that. But we just negotiate with these guys. Normally they have an affiliate thing where we get money, but of course we absolutely don't want that. So we said, if we send you someone and they want to actually do this, doesn't matter if Pioneer Bonds or real estate, whatever you guys want to do, you can do that. So go to pioneeralpha.org and do it, and you get our affiliate fee as a discount on your fee. So it's $200, I think, instead of $500 for the first year. Just as a little plug here, because we got so many requests from people who are, who want to use their IRA to have tax-free Pioneer bond returns. Very cool. So please let me also know how this goes and what you guys think. You can test it out. This is a new setup, of course, and I'm very interested in what people think. I think it's tremendous. So just as a little side note. But I wanted to talk about Bitcoin, because we got some questions here on Bitcoin price. And I have a clear thesis here what's going on, because Bitcoin remains an important piece of the equation. Frost says, my eye is 100% Tesla stock. I would have to sell some to get Pioneer bonds. Not happening. Sorry, Joe. You know that one of the Pioneer bonds, what is happening here? You know that one of the Pioneer bonds is actually addressing exactly that, because it is the Tesla plus 50 bond, where you basically, it's not a guarantee that you make more with Tesla, but if I make more than Tesla, you make more with Tesla. So you're basically getting half of my excess alpha over Tesla as a benchmark, in case you didn't know that we have that bond. Not guaranteed. If I suck, if I fail and make less than Tesla, you're not making more than Tesla. But if I make more than Tesla, you're getting half of that. So if Tesla goes up 300%, for example, in 3 years, we go up 400%, you make 350%. Bing. Just saying, little Tesla diversification here. That bond is specifically designed for all-in Tesla investors who think, okay, fine, maybe I put some in the bonds, keep most in Tesla, just in case the bond actually keeps outperforming Tesla, then I just make more. And it's directly linked to the Tesla performance. So it's a fun little bond, just saying. Okay, Bitcoin. So here, what happened to my Bitcoin chart? My Bitcoin chart is gone. Why is this Bitcoin? Here, Bitcoin in dollars. Here. That's what we want. So we saw Bitcoin bouncing off very hard the $60,000 problem. And that happened also back here when it was really bad. in February actually was here. It doesn't even show it in the chart anymore. We clearly bounced off the 60,000 before. So it feels like that the 60,000 technically, which is like this area here before, from 2024, when it plateaued at the all-time high and then went higher. This is like a head and shoulders or something here, long term. But it seems like, of course you never know with Bitcoin, but it seems like the 60,000 area is kind of a stable bounce. And that's how I'm right now fully exposed on Bitcoin with my position. I think MicroStrategy might be a very good thing too. Of course, you never know. You have to be long-term in Bitcoin because if it falls, you shouldn't, like I am not selling when it falls. So I need to be positioned that I can sustain also deeper drops. But I think the risk return here, risk reward looks very good to me. Suckers only says, Joe doesn't want to get shut down, bring on Peggy. I should bring on Peggy. This poor little Peggy is so mean. Yeah, Frost, if you want, you can always go to Pioneer Alpha and shoot us a message, but that is explicitly designed to do a little. And we have one large IRA Tesla holder who does that a little bit, so that will be fun. Tesla semi-FSD will be off the charts. 100,000 per truck per year. This 5 billion almost pure profit, then 10 billion in year 2. I know. I think that's, Tesla has a lot of things coming. That are all very bullish. I also think earnings are going to look very good. If you look at wait times in China for Model Y, when you look for sales in Europe rebounding like crazy, when you also consider that the other automakers, including the Chinese, have giant problems all over the place, I think Tesla is in a very, very strong position, even outside robotaxi. Austin41 says, where do I go to see what time you're coming on live? I checked at 10 a.m. Pacific time, California, but nothing. I know Austin 4, today I messed up. I was over an hour late because I was traveling. I was coming back from a very nice city, actually from Copenhagen, in case you know where Copenhagen is. Probably the best city ever, so beautiful. But I was late. So, but normally 10 a.m., that is the right time. I try to keep it, but we were just bad in scheduling. We also have like tremendous things coming on pioneerlands.org. I'm constantly delayed on this, but it's such a major operation. We are going to redesign, or we have redesigned Pioneerlands Daily, and it will be more essay and deep essay driven. So we will have on politics, on culture, and of course on investments. I think one of the coolest sites ever, where you see me and some other people, but mostly me in the beginning, write essays and essay series, not too long. You can read them very quickly, but with numbers, with facts, they look very nice. So we can actually make more cohesive arguments than on video for those who are interested in the future of AGI, Tesla, SpaceX, but also politics and how we build that civilization where we can actually deploy our capital that we make here more effectively and can protect us a little bit more. Okay, what do we have? What about Anthropic Mythos model banned by USA? Negative market sentiment on Monday coming. No way. Cozy Zoc, no, I don't think that's bearish at all. I think it's a marketing coup for Anthropic, actually. I don't think it's bad. It's very clear when you read David Sachs's comments on this, that the US government is waiting for Anthropic to actually just do some improvements of their what's it called, their safety scaffold around Fable or Mythos, whatever you want to call it. And it's like the ball is in Anthropic's court. And I do think, and the whole drama, it was Amazon AWS who leaked that they hacked, their broke Fable, and they told the US government after telling Mythos, because Amazon is an investor in Anthropic. But they figured it out. The Amazon team cracked this thing, and said, dudes, it's not safe. We can deploy this as a cyber weapon. And then the US government gave Anthropic 10 minutes to shut it down and said, you guys need to fix this and prove it to us. That is the story that happened. David Sachs outlined that nicely. So I don't think it's bearish at all. It's a longer discussion what it all means. I need to do a dedicated video and also a series, hopefully, on Pioneer Lands, because this actually goes much deeper than you guys think. Much deeper. Much deeper. This is a crazy story. Great question, because we need to actually think through these things. And there's a lot to say about that. Michael D. Bush, what do you think about Stretch for parking cash? I think MicroStrategy is totally undervalued. I think there's absolutely no risk right now. And I think Stretch is good for parking cash, only that I don't want to park cash. I want to invest my cash in Tesla right now and some other things. So yes, it's good for parking cash and giving you probably very high returns, not just the 12% or 11%, but also Stretch is trading at what, 90? That's nuts. It has to go back to 100. What do you think about Toyota announcing that they have a 1,100 mile solid state battery? Austin 4, I'm not concerned about any of these freaks. These OEMs, they announce, it's like BMW announcing that they have a new something, little prototype or something like. They can't deliver, these people. All of these people. They can't deliver. It's a problem for them. Marty Party says, also I saw that Ford and GM are trying to get into the Megapack business. Good luck, Ford and GM. The Megapack business is all about batteries. So good luck. Joe, do you think Elon is holding back the full launch of Cybercab on purpose to get Tesla cheaper price? Well, that would be highly illegal and piss everyone a lot off. I don't think so, to be totally honest. I think Elon's just very busy. He was very distracted with the SpaceX IPO and SpaceX in general. That was very important. He's distracted with AI. I do not think that Elon thinks like that, because it would make his life way too complicated and it's too dangerous. Crest says, I still have a couple of buy limits in place if SpaceX dips a little at any point. Very good. Well, I'm all in Tesla, and let's see. I'm very relaxed on SpaceX. I'm pretty confident I get this cheaper. And I'm pretty confident it's a long way before I really go into SpaceX. It's probably going to be a year or something, or at least 9 months. But when I go into SpaceX, I will go hard, because I think SpaceX is crazy. I parked my cash in NVIDIA stock. Oh, we didn't talk about NVIDIA. No time today about NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is the best deal in the market right now. And NVIDIA is a perfect complement to Tesla. Perfect complement. Because Tesla is the hottest thing in town in terms of upside potential, at least of the ones I understand. While NVIDIA is the safest game in town in terms of downside potential, which also has large upside potential, but NVIDIA can't drop much more. It's ridiculous. Joe, how many million euros should a man have, being 43, according to you, to be successful? I mean, what's your realistic answer to that? Or do we speak about hundreds of thousands instead? Andreas Peterson. I assume you are somewhere in Scandinavia. Well, it depends on the country. In the United States, you definitely need a few million. In Europe, not so much. It really depends on the country what the realistic target is. Also, it doesn't matter. It's kind of it's also, you should ask more, where should I be in 5 years? I'm always forward looking, or in 3 years. And what do I do with my money? That's the important questions. Sweden, beautiful. Mycket bra. Jag älskar Sverige. In Sweden, I hope you have it all in your ESK. The best thing ever invented. Sweden is actually a secret tax haven of insane proportions. Sweden completely nailed this. It's ridiculous. Long story short, Sweden has basically a voluntary account where you pay a wealth tax. You pay 0.88% roughly of your wealth. So you can put all your stocks and your bonds, if they're liquidity traded, and of course your funds into that account, transfer it in the account. The government automatically takes roughly 0.8% a year of the entire thing out, takes it out. Automatic tax. But the deal is you have to pay no other tax. So if you make 30%, if you make 100%, you don't pay tax. That's nuts. And there is no contribution limit. It's not like the Roth IRA. You just can put in 10 million bucks if you want. You can put in 100 million bucks. Olo Findquist says, Joe, sorry, but you seem to have misunderstood the inclusion of SpaceX in the indices. The buying pressure will rather start when you say you think it will end. So the way it works is once it gets included in the index, after that point in time, the funds that are these index funds have to rebalance, and they have certain rebalancing schedules, but they can't be endlessly in the future. So Olaf is correct that it's not when the inclusion in the index happens the day that the buying pressure starts, but there's a certain period after where the funds that are connected to these indices have to rebalance, meaning they have to then buy SpaceX. So that will happen in the weeks after. I don't have an exact high resolution answer to that because it's a lot of funds. So we have to look at all the funds and when they actually do that, but it's probably end of the quarter latest or within the quarter. So then you can do the math when that happens. Andreas says, yeah, I agree 100% with you. My answer to that, I want to be married with a Russian woman and have one daughter and then I'll be happy. That's very specific, Andreas. Why one and why only a daughter? You should have multiple. And Russian, why? Swedish women are very nice. But Russian, also good. I'm not gonna, this is all good stuff. But one is a little, you should aim higher than one. Not one woman is fine. I'm talking about the children. How will consumer auto insurance evolve with FSD going from supervised to unsupervised? Well, Hutsoy, we already know that. Look at Lemonade. Look at how they reacted to FSD. They will actually be cheaper because now it's once you go to unsupervised, it's extremely easy to do insurance because now you have endless amounts of data. So that will be very good. Andrea says ESK tax 2025 was 1.065%. Ouch. And it's calculated every quarter. Yes, and they shift that rate depending on some complicated formula. But I didn't know it's 1%. That's pretty high. Who tells me he likes being women? That's not true. I know very nice Russian women. At least they were nice to me for... Who knows? Who knows? I'm not a woman expert, unfortunately. Who knows they're going to do to you? You never know. But Russian women are not the... Oh, I read like a survey or something that Russian women, yeah, they can be mean. Marty Party says, 4 to 5 new robotaxi cities should be going online in the next 2 weeks. This should boost Tesla stock. Yes, I just don't know if that's true, Marty Party. I know that Tesla said that, but can we rely on that? Recent negative media outrage on Island's trillionaire status is interesting. I can only imagine the drama that will unfold if a merger does occur during Trump administration. Oh my God, by the way, we have to wrap it up for today, but I tell you one last story before we wrap it up. I had like a funny experience with my ex because now if you think about women too much, I talk about my ex account, not my ex. Look at this. I posted this very, very funny. I didn't even think it was funny. I posted this thing. Read this. This is a funny story. So I'm posting this post on X because I had nothing to do and thought I'm going to do some German humor here. And basically said, tax the trillionaires. I will read you the post. You can read it yourself. But that's what I said. I said, tax the trillionaires because everyone was talking about this. Here's why. And then I said, if California would tax Elon 50% of his wealth, that would add 550 billion for the California budget. Instead of going to Mars and build infinity intelligence, which is useless anyway because no one needs intelligence. Duh. Okay? You guys get it. And then I said, this could make a huge difference for Californians. Experts calculated that within 5 years, with these 550 billion, the state could buy 2 homeless people a bed, parentheses, shared. Then I said, complete 1 mile of high-speed train tracks. And then I said, buy 50 million pre-signed mail-in ballots, including on-time delivery for the next 2 elections. That is why we need a trillionaire tax now. Okay, I hope you guys get it. Now you connect the dots in your little brains. Did I make a joke or did I make a policy proposal? That is the big question. Okay? Yeah, Andreas, I'm starting to tell German jokes, but it went horribly wrong. I followed your advice and now I'm telling German jokes on X. So I made this little post. I don't know about you guys, but when I would read when I read something like this, I was like, maybe he's joking. Maybe he's joking. Maybe I was joking, saying with 550 billion, we can buy 2 homeless people a bed that they have to share and complete 1 mile of high-speed train tracks, which is optimistic in California, maybe, and buy 50 million pre-signed mail-in ballots to cheat on the elections. Maybe I was joking, but then this thing totally blew up. Like I just posted this on Friday, so less than 48 hours ago, I think. I got 347,000 views, which is it's kind of a lot, you know, nearly 500,000 views. And the people hated. They were outraged. I got so much hate. I got so much hate. Yeah, I got so much hate. Good try. He's not a resident of California. I mean, you could try tax Tesla. I never knew there were so many idiots that believe that Elon has $1 trillion sitting around. Stop trying to steal other people's money. How about government stop spending on crap? And so it goes, this is disinformation. Oh, he's talking about the ballots. More class warfare retardation. If you think Elon has $1 trillion, you're economically stupid. And all these people said, like, you damn commie, go back to Europe. And stuff like that. So it was highly amusing. And then I was like, bro, I'm just joking. I'm on your side. I don't want to tax Tesla. And someone literally said, I stopped reading after 50%. These people need to get locked up. Damn, all these commies, shoot them. It's like, bro, they nearly lynched me. This is so bad. Daniel Chadwick. I know, it's very based. Just a bad joke. So bad. I got murdered on X. Everyone hates me now on X. Everyone thinks I'm Bernie's assistant. That's why he left, you ignorant prick. It's so mean. So, you have to read this. This is so bad. I can... So bad. Joe, how can Elon allow Tesla to rise if we know SpaceX is going down? Doesn't he need Tesla to stay down until the merger is announced? I know, Joe Ed, this is complicated. I just think it's, you know, these things it's very hard to plan this. So it's kind of scary to think of the results if votes did matter. All free stuff for all. Votes are like a list for sand. That's true. New tasteless joke, Joe. An English ship was sinking and German ship came by. Help, we are sinking. We are sinking. Jawohl, what are you thinking about? Very funny, Nordic man. No German jokes. This is horrible. Andreas also has a German joke. My grandpa was part of planning the city plans for Hanover 1944. Well, at least he flew over Hanover. That sounds really bad. We can't make these jokes. I got your joke, Seth Jones. Kind of obvious. Had a good laugh, but yeah, people crazy. They're so crazy. I mean, this was so crazy. Some people got it, but see, I got all this. I got like thousands of comments on this. It was like crazy. Here, Old Man Chi says, you are a useless walk waste of human product. Where were you when he worked day and night? So bad. They're so mean to me. He doesn't live there, you effing moron. So, like, okay, you have to always read posts complete. Like, it's not even a long post. It's so bad. Like, the vast majority of these comments are hate comments because people thought I'm not joking. Can you even imagine this? I think it's totally funny. I lived in LA for a long time and in Silicon Valley, so I think it's funny. I mean, LA is completely like insane what's happening there. Okay, guys, that's it for now. I think we had some fun. We know what's coming next week, maybe. Let's see what's happening. And any PR is good PR for me. I don't know. This scared me a little bit today. I was like, oh, these people want to actually lynch me now. They think I'm a commie. So dangerous. You can't make too many jokes. Okay, very good. So thank you guys. I hope that was informative. We continue tomorrow. And next week, I guarantee you, we're going to launch Pioneerland Daily. And you will see some cool stuff. And then you can tell me what you think. And we can iterate on this. When will you be online next time? I'm definitely online next time at 10 a.m. California time on Sunday or 7 p.m. Central European time. So 19 o'clock Central European time on Sunday, but I will probably be live during the week, but this is more spontaneous. No, Vlad Matei, I got hate from the right-wingers. They thought I am a commie. They thought I actually want to tax Elon. I mean, it's unbelievable. They read this like, oh, he's a commie. He wants to tax Elon. I was like, bros, you have to read. I mean, hello. Really? Okay, very good. So, see you very soon. And that was fun. Enjoy your Sunday. And see you next week.